Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I wanted to just, let's just say, I want to say sorry for not explaining who sesa refamee is. So in this video, I want to just make up for that and just explain it basically. Because there's a channel called Hidden Xperia that does it way better than how I'm going to do it. But I'm just going to go through a quick run through of who sesa refamee is and why he was so important in the Halo universe. So here we go. Sesa refamee. He was a proud Sangheili soldier of the Covenant. By the time of the timeline in Halo Combat Evolved, Sesa, excuse me, Sesa was a part of the fleet of Particular Justice, led by Supreme Commander Thel Vadami, before he became the Arbiter. Though in the fleet was a powerful, well, not powerful, was a power struggle between Thel and a minor prophet, the Prophet of Stewardship. This prophet tried to take control of the fleet, saying this was a religious matter, making the Covenant on the Ring disorganized, making it easier for humanity to gain an advantage in the fight. So, let me cut in before I continue. So, in Combat Evolved, for the people who've played Combat Evolved, the Covenant, the Covenant's fleet that was there was the same fleet that took out Reach. So seeing that it was a less organized version of what we saw in Reach, it kind of makes sense for the fact that there was a power struggle and their leaders couldn't send orders or reorganize their forces. But let's get back to it. So since the prophet saw this as a religious matter and tried taking control, as this power struggle was occurring, the prophet had sent Sesa and another elite leading a division of elites and grunts and some jackals. I forget what so far. I don't remember what they were leading exactly, but let's say they were elites, grunts, and jackals. They sent Sesa and another elite leading a division to gas mine to do some scouting. This gas mine is the same gas mine from Halo 2. Where was I at? I'm sorry. Since this order was given by the Prophet, Thel would try to stop this by ordering all divisions to focus on the flood infesting the Halo ring, but the scouting was done nonetheless. When this scouting was done, the gas mine they were going to was converted to a flood experimentation facility that that had dormant variants of flood forms. With Sesa entering the facility, him and his forces, they done as they were ordered to do. They were ordered to do, which was to gather information and uncover any Forerunner relics that could be on the gas mine. While they were doing their respective duties, the events of Combat Evolved would go accordingly, and Sesa and his forces watched as the Halo was destroyed into many pieces. Knowing the punishment that the entire fleet would have gone through, they awaited for the evac that they were thinking was coming. But to the shock of the entire force, even the worst part, they never got an evac. And to worse the thing of that, the fleet of the Particular Justice had left them behind to go to High Charity. Sometime after the Halo ring was destroyed, Monitor 343 Guilty Spark made his way to the gas mine. But he was attacked by some of the station's jackals until Sparks was saved by an elite that knew of him, even calling him a tool of the gods. When the elite brought Sparks to Sesa, he was very much surprised and, for a better term, elated to have found an oracle. Though as he spoke to Sparks, he learned all of what happened to the Forerunners, how the Flood was created, and how Halo was a super weapon. While he learned this, he cut all communication to the fleet that was left, knowing if any of this got to the Prophets, there would be a bounty on his head, and on any of their heads, that only an Arbiter would take. Hence why Thel was anointed an Arbiter. Sesa would say to Sparks how the rings were a holy artifact, but Sparks only shot back with more truth and more facts, saying whoever had said this were completely insane, which he wasn't wrong. The prophets were nuts. Noting that the race of the prophets, even in the time of forerunners, would be very manipulative, knowing knowing that he's cast not shocked that none of that has changed. But knowing that many of his brothers had been killed for a lie had infuriated Sesa, so he began to fight against the Covenant. Even though he begun to fight the prophets, he was in upscale war. He had no more allies except the forces he had in the gas mine. And even worse, an Arbiter and Spec Op elites and squad led by Artaz Vadum were coming to kill him. Fast forward to when the flood came into the picture. Nobody knows if Sesa released them on purpose or if it was on accident. But it proceeded to slow down the Arbiter and make his elites fight a two-front war. When the Arbiter was able to get to Sesa, Sesa was about to board his personal Seraph fighter. As the possibly only other Covenant to still hold respect to the Arbiter, he went down to speak with him and have Sparks try to convince the Arbiter that he is not the enemy. Though in the canon timeline, it's not in my theory timeline. This is the canon timeline. Sesa was convinced that Thel was too far gone and opened fire with his twin plasma rifles. But in the end, Thel had struck down Sesa with no mercy. Sesa's heresy, he had begun the stages to the fall of the Great Covenant Empire. Thel regaining his honor and the formation of the Swords of Sanghelios. His heresy inspired others to take up arms to change the entire universe. So that's my basic run through. I don't know if you would say that's a basic run through, but that's pretty much the basic run through of what happened in what caused Sesa to become Sesa in Halo 2. So I hope that cleared up the confusion about who he was and why I was making a theory about him, because this guy was literally the main reason that the Covenant was destroyed in Halo 2. Or was being fractured in Halo 2 and was destroyed in Halo 3. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. See ya!